Hey, welcome back to Electrically Constructed. I'm Master Electrician Seth Echo, and this is our third video of our box fill calculation series. I'm going to be using my 2026 edition of the NEC, and today we are going to be going over Article 314.16b and 314.16b1, box fill calculations and conductor fill. All right, let's get our code books out and get going.
Okay, hopefully your code book's open to Article 314.16. And in our last video we covered box volume calculations. We covered the volume of the wire enclosure, the full assembly of it, meaning the plaster ring, the dome covers, the extension rings, all that combined is what makes up the volume that's allowed to use for that box. We also covered Table 314.16b4, volume allowance required per conductor, and we also covered 300.16, the length of free conductors at outlet, junction, and switch points. We're going to start with the rest of 314.16a, where they start talking about barriers. So where a box is provided with one or more securely installed barriers, the volume shall be portioned to each of the resulting spaces. Each barrier, if not marked with the volume, shall be considered to take up a half a cubic inch if metal, 1 cubic inch if non-metal. All right, let's go ahead and highlight that. So I'm just going to highlight from each barrier if not marked, and I'm going to finish with if non-metallic. And I'm going to highlight that. All right. Okay, so some examples of barriers. Here's a plastic barrier inside of a plastic box here. This is taking up 1 cubic inch of space. Here's a metal barrier inside of a metal box. Here's an example of it outside the metal box. Here's an example inside. This is taking up a half a cubic inch of space inside that box. All right. So if we move on, we'll go over to 314.16b. You can go ahead and highlight that. And this is telling us the volume in 314.16b1 through b6 as you apply shall be added together. No allowance shall be required for small fittings such as lock nuts, splicing connectors, and bushings. So we can highlight that. No volume. No allowance shall be required for the small fittings. So, wire nuts, lock nuts, and bushings, you do not need to add volume for those if they are inside your box. Those do not count. All right, each space within the box installed with barriers shall be calculated separately. Okay, let's go back to our example of a box with a barrier in it. Okay, so what they're trying to tell us here is, say we have let's say this is a 21 cubic inch box here, make it easy on us, and this is worth 1 cubic inch, this barrier. Well, we take 21 minus 1 divided by 2, we get 10 cubic inches. So that means each side of this barrier is 10 cubic inches of space that you can use, and that's what you're going to have to use for your box fill calculation. After you get one conductor fill highlighted, let's read it. Each conductor that originates outside the box and terminates or is spliced within the box shall be counted once, and each conductor that passes through the box without splice or termination shall be counted once. Each loop or coil of unbroken conductor not less than twice the minimum length required for free conductor in 300.16 shall be counted twice. The conductor fill shall be calculated using table 314.16b4. Conductor, no part of which leaves the box shall not be counted. All right, there's a lot to go over here. Let's start with the beginning. Let's go ahead and highlight each conductor that originates outside the box and terminates or is spliced within the box shall be counted once. Let's highlight that. All right, so what this rule is telling us is that each conductor that originates outside the box, so if these conductors are coming from the outside and going into the box, and terminates or is spliced within the box shall be counted once. So if it terminates to a device, or if it is spliced inside this box, it needs to be counted once in accordance with table 314.16b4. So that means this one would be counted once, this one would be counted once, and this one would be counted once. All right, next we got each conductor that passes through the box without splice or termination shall be counted once. We will highlight that. Right, so what this one is talking about, each conductor that passes through the box without splice or termination shall be counted once. So that's talking about is if you have wire just passing straight through the box, each wire then will be counted one time. Next we have each loop or coil of unbroken conductors not less than twice the minimum length required for free conductors in 300.16 shall be counted twice. So we already went over 300.16 yesterday, so we know the minimum length is 6 inches. So it's saying twice that, you have to count it twice. So if it's 12 inches or longer. Let's go ahead and highlight that. Okay, so what this one's telling us is that each loop of unbroken conductor needs to be counted. If it's more than the 6 inches, twice as much as the 6 inches that we looked at in 300.16, it needs to be counted twice. So if, like, say for instance, you are looping it because it's a junction box and you might want to make a splice in this later on. So you pull a loop, you have more than 12 inches or more of wire sitting in this box for later on, then you have to count these as two conductors. So that means this white one would be counted twice, this black one would be counted twice, and this ground probably only be counted once, but we'll find out more about that when we go over equipment grounding conductors. Then we have the conductor fill shall be calculated using table 314.16b4. All right, we know that already. A conductor, no part of which leaves the box shall not be counted. All right, let's highlight that. All right, so what that rule is telling us is that when a wire originates inside the box, like an equipment grounding conductor or pigtails on a device, you don't need to count them towards the overall volume. That's just the rule. That's the rule that the code gives us. It's the rule you need to follow. So use it. Comes in your advantage. All right. So that is it for this. There was a lot going on here. A lot that was covered. It's going to be a little bit to digest. So go ahead, watch the video again. Watch it slowly. See what's going on. Take your time. Reread it. Get away from it for a little bit, come back to it tomorrow, look at it again. That's how you're gonna learn the code. All right? Stay sharp, never stop learning, and God bless. Hope to see you in the next video.